Hey everybody, welcome to Patrick Murray Real Estate. I'm Patrick Murray, and today we're going to talk about the latest real estate stats ending March 2026. We're going to look at where the markets come from, where we're at right now, and where it looks like we're going to be going in the foreseeable future. But before we do that, if this is your first time to this channel and you want to know about buying and selling a home in Calgary, Alberta, you want to know how to protect yourself, maybe you want to see some home tours, maybe you want to learn about some neighborhoods, then you are absolutely in the right place. Please just hit that subscribe button and click that bell so you get notified every single time I release a new video. Now, I've lived in several major centers in my life, but I settled in Calgary way back in 2001. I've been a realtor here since 2010. And all this means, well, I do have some specialized knowledge about the city of Calgary and the surrounding bedroom communities. So if you're considering selling your home or you're considering purchasing one, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to assist you. All right, guys, let's do this. Let's jump in and talk about these latest stats right now.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Here we are looking at the City of Calgary market for the month ending March 2026. These are the latest month-end stats for the City of Calgary. We're into April right now, so this is the latest stuff that we have, and we're going to look at the detached sector, the semi-detached sector, the townhome sector, and the apartment condominium sectors of the market. And we're going to talk about benchmark pricing, which is a far more stable way of talking about pricing as opposed to median or average, which can be skewed month to month, depending if there's a high level of higher price sales in a month or a higher level of lower price sales in a month. So we're going to get into things right now and take a look at the City of Calgary detached sector of the market. So first and foremost, we're going to look at this dial here under the market status, which is the listing absorption rate. And you can see we're firmly planted at 45.03% in balanced market territory, balanced market being that 30 to 50%. 50% and above listing absorption rate is the seller's market, and below 30% is the buyer's market. And what this chart means is as of March, we had 2,181 new listings, with 982 of them, so 45.03% of those listings selling. And we'll just keep going down here, guys. We'll look at the benchmark prices here. So the benchmark price right now for a detached home in the city of Calgary, again, taking into account everything throughout the city, is $741,300. Yes, this changes from sector to sector. So, the inner city is going to be more expensive than the Northeast, for example, or the Southeast or the Southwest, as is the, the Northwest and the West. Those are more expensive areas of the city. So month over month, looking at this price, it is up 0.95%, so nearly a percentage point from last month. And year over year, we're down 3.3% from March of 2025. So let's look at this chart here. And you can see in March, the benchmark price last year was $766,600. And then we just kind of dropped off. We started trending down, 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 down. And then something happens in the fall where we get what we call seasonal softening that further affects the market. And so prices get a little bit soft, which is pretty normal. And we got down to our low of 724,000 in January. And then in February, we trended up 1.42% and another percentage point in March, roughly. So, in a short amount of time, the market has started trending upwards quite positively. So what does this tell me? Well, it tells me, A, this sector of the market is pretty stable, and B, the spring market has arrived. And let's look at this 10-year price chart. If you bought in 2017 and you're selling today, you'd make roughly 45% on your investment. Let's go down here. We'll look at the active and sold listings. So again, there were 2,181 actives with 982 of those selling. So looking at the actives, this is supply we're talking about. There were 12.36% increase month over month from last month. So a lot more actives in the market. Year over year, though, this is down 1.09%. So not much, just a little bit. Looking at the sales month over month, wow, look at this. Sales are up 33.42% from last month. But year over year, sales are down roughly 5% from March of 2025. And believe it or not, supply in this sector of the market is kind of tight, depending on what you're looking for and where you're looking for it. So prices are still doing fairly well. Average days on market sitting at 31 days. You can see that our highest day in market all year was in December at 52, and we've trended down January, February, and March. Last March, it was at 27 days on market on average. And the market distribution right now, most of these sales coming in that $600,000 to $700,000 range, followed by that $500,000 to $600,000 range, and in the $700,000 to $800,000 range, and then that $800,000 to $900,000 range, and that $1 million to $1.5 million range, and so on and so forth. Now we're going to look at the City of Calgary semi-detached sector of the market. So for those of you wondering, what's a semi-detached? Well, it's kind of like a duplex, if you will. And Calgary has some really nice ones in the inner city, the northwest and the west sectors, and even in the southeast and so on and so forth. So this is our smallest sector of the market. But this has also been one of our all-stars in the market all year long, and continues to do quite well. So looking at this listing absorption rate sitting at 40.21%, so firmly implanted in balanced market territory. Guys, balanced market territory is where I like to see listings and then see the market, I should say, because that means buyers and sellers are making prudent decisions without feeling pressure from the other side. So this is positive. So as of March, we had 480 listings that came on, with 193 of them, or 40.21% of those listings, selling last month. We'll look down here at the benchmark price, sitting at $686,100, up 0.57% from February. Year over year, we're down a little bit, just 0.85%, which is pretty good if you consider all that's going on in the world right now, all the news that affects our real estate markets, not just in Canada, but throughout the world. So I think these are very good numbers from what we're seeing in this sector of the market. So last year, the benchmark price was $692,000. Here we are at $686,100, and you can see it's kind of been a little bit of an up and down story throughout the year. And then we got into winter and had this seasonal softening happening, but then a big increase, getting close to 3% since January. So that tells me this sector is stable, and it tells me that the spring market is here as well. Oh, sorry. And we'll look at the 10-year price trend chart. So if you bought in 2017, you were selling today, you probably make roughly around 65% on your investment. So darn good investment there. Coming down here, we'll look at the active and sold listings. So when I say it's a good investment, if you're making 3% on real estate every year, you're doing really well. The fact that that's 60% in 10 years is double that. So that's pretty darn good. Looking at the actives and solds, so again, this is supply, so 480 actives month over month. This is up nearly 16% from last month. Year over year, up 16.22%. And let's look at the amount of solds, 193 of them. So month over month, the amount of solds is up 10.29% from last month. Year over year, up nearly 5% from March of 2025. So some positive stuff happening there. And looking at the average days on market, on average, sitting at 38 right now. The highest was in January at 61, and now we're trending down, 45 in February, 38 now. Last March was 28 days on market, but you can also see we've got a little more supply happening in the market here. And looking at this market distribution, the majority of these sales happening, roughly 30% of them in that $500,000 to $600,000 range, followed by that $400,000 to $500,000 range, and then all the way over to this $1.1 million to $1.5 million range, and so on and so forth. And now we're going to look at the City of Calgary row housing, which is townhomes. Now, as we get into townhomes and apartment condominiums, I always tell people say to me, Patrick, how is the market doing? And, how's it looking? And I always say it's kind of a tale of two markets. We've got the detached and semi-detached sector, which is doing very well, very stable, especially with what's going on in the world. So we're still seeing growth, so that's good to see. But if we look at the apartment condominium sector and the townhome sector of the market, they are hurting a little bit more than the rest of the market, specifically the apartment condominium sector. And you're going to see that there's been a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel here for the townhome sector. So let's keep going here. So let's look at this listing absorption rate sitting at 33.54%, just in the balanced territory. And that's because we had 960 listings last month, the 322 of them, or 33.54% of those listings selling. And we'll look at this benchmark price chart. They're the price right now for the average benchmark. The average benchmark price for a townhouse in the city of Calgary is what I'm trying to say is $423,900. This is up 0.07% from February, but it is down 6.2% from March of 2025. So you can see the difference from the other two sectors of the market we talked about and how the pricing has really changed year over year. But we can see that looking at this chart, so we trended up for March and April last year, and then trended down from May onwards, and then we got into into the fall and this seasonal softening. But now we can see in January, February, and March, we're starting to trend upwards. We're starting to see a little more growth, and that tells me again that the spring market is here. This benchmark price trend chart, if you bought in 2017 and you were selling today, you'd make roughly 40% on your investment. Again, pretty good. That's above that 3% yearly increase. So still a pretty good investment on your money. And this shows what it means to stay in your home long term. Even from 2021, if you were to buy at 309,000 and sell today, or if you bought in 2022 at 355 and sold today, you'd still be doing just fine on your investment. Let's look at the actives and solds. So looking at the actives, there were 960 of them with 322 solds. So the actives, this is up 8.23% from last month. So this is supply in the market, and year over year, the supply is up greatly from last year at 16.22%. Looking at the solds, up nearly 20% from last month, which is very positive. Year over year, though, we're still down 19.5% from March of last year. Average days on market on average, sitting at 37 days on market on average. Last month it's 44. The high was back in November at 53, and then we went down to 50 in December, 52 in January, and have been trending downwards. Last March at 27 days on market on average. And let's look at the market distribution here. The $400,000 to $500,000 range is where the majority of the sales were, nearly 36% of them selling in this sector of the market, followed by that $300,000 to $400,000 range, followed by that $500,000 to $600,000 range, so on and so forth. All right, and now the apartment condominium sector of the market. And we're almost at record levels of supply in this sector of the market right now, rivaling what happened in 2008, the financial crises going on in 2008. So there's that much supply. So the listing absorption rate right now sitting at 21.65%, which is firmly in buyer's market territory. And that's because as of March 2026, we had 1,774 listings coming on with 384 of them, or just 21.65% of those listings selling last month. So if you have an apartment condominium and you're for sale, you want to be in this 21%. And if you're not last month, what's going on? Are you priced in appropriately? Does it not show very well? Is the marketing out of whack? If one of those three things isn't operating, it can affect what's happening with your property. It usually comes down to buyers seeing value, so it has to do with price and presentation in most cases. So something to be aware of. Looking at the benchmark price for this sector of the market, sitting at $300,300. Now, a glimmer of hope, up 0.57% from last month, but year over year, down nearly 9.5% from March of last year. And let's look at this chart. So again, the blue is trending up and the gold is trending down. So trending down since March all year long. And then we got into that seasonal softening to compact things even more. And now here we are sitting at $300,300 for the market. So, nearly down nearly, $31,000 from last year. The benchmark price trend chart, if you had purchased in 2017 and were selling today, you'd make roughly 14%. Okay. If you bought in 2021, you'd still make 50 grand. So still doing not too badly there. But this sector of the market is definitely hit the hardest with what's going on, and it's reflected in the amount of supply with this 1,774 active listings with just 384 of them selling. Month over month, the supply level is up 12.28% from last month. Year over year, the supply level is up 3.74% from March of 2025. Let's look at the amount of solds month over month. Good news, up 11.3%, thankfully, but year over year down. Oh, guys, look at this. Year over year, the amount of sales is down nearly 30% at 28.89% from March of 2025. So, let's take a look at average days on market on average. So sitting at 45 days on market on average, the highest was in January, it was sitting at 65, but starting to trend down, which is good news. March last year was 36 days on market on 36 days on market on average. Then we'll go down here and look at the market distribution. The majority of sales coming in that that $200,000 to $300,000 range at 38.88%, followed by the $300,000 to $400,000 range, and then the $400,000 to $500,000 range, and so on and so forth. So, where's the opportunity? Well, if you are making moves in the detached and semi-detached sectors of the market, things are quite stable. If you're making a move in the townhouse sector, prices have softened some. For sure, there is opportunity there if you are buying one of those properties, but it looks like it's going to start trending upwards a little bit. It appears that it will. We'll see what happens. So there's a bit of a glimmer of hope there. The apartment condominiums, if you're a first-time buyer and this is the sector of the market that you can afford, guys, there is a sale on right now. There's, not many. There's a lot of properties, a lot of sellers, all competing for your business. Prices are soft, so you can get into the market. If you're getting into a property for the long term, you're going to do just fine. So, I know a lot of people, even in the detached and semi-detached sector, everyone's trying to time the market, time the bottom of the market. Where's the bottom? And I can tell you that that's a fool's errand because nobody can truly time the bottom. And if you do, you're playing lucky. So if you're buying a home, I always tell people, if you're going to be in your home for 3 to 5 years, especially that 5 years, you're going to do just fine. If you're going to be in it for 10 years, you're going to do really well. If you are getting into a home for a year and you're going to renovate it, hope to flip it, that is called speculating. And so there's no telling what can happen in the market that amount of time. But if you're going to be in it for long term, then you're going to do just fine. So that's my story today. There is opportunity depending where you are in the market. If you have questions, reach out to me. Happy to chat more.
So if you're considering buying or selling in Calgary, I'd love the opportunity to give you some guidance and to assist you with selling or purchasing your next home. I love what I do, and I'm always here to answer your questions. I'm Patrick Murray with Patrick Murray Real Estate. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.